He may be a gentle old bloke, but I hope Roy Hodgson is giving the Watford squad the hairdryer treatment right now, because it finished at Vicarage Road, unfortunately, stupidly, Watford 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 2, and it's Groundhog Day once again for our poor Watford faithful. I mean, honestly, if we play like that, I've said this about 6 times this season, but if we play like that, there's only one way that it goes, and that is down to the Championship, because it's not good enough. It is simply not good enough. We make Brighton look like a team, like, outside the top 4, like, just, I don't know. I just don't know with this team anymore, and under Hodgson, before today, there was a, dare I say it, a little bit of optimism. But that has just been squashed massively with just somehow even worse, or, just as bad as our game against Brighton in the reverse fixture, where we were absolutely awful. And that was the beginning of the end, when after that amazing, really, awe-inspiring victory at Villa, against Villa, then we threw it down the pan and haven't really been that great since. And there it is, the same reminder of this awful season. So we got Villa next. I'm not looking forward to Coutinho, just embarrassing us and pulling our pants down. But yeah, we have got a long way to go before we can realistically say that, number 1, we deserve to stay up, and number 2, we have, roots of hope towards that kind of reality. Because right now, the players are looking half-hearted. They're looking so lethargic and slow. It's like the winter break has almost meant that the players have gone into hibernation and have not come out, because they look, honestly, ancient. They look like loads of, I'm not saying Roy's his fault, but it's like we've got 11 Roy Hodgsons running out onto the pitch, because that's how slow we are at the minute. We've got 11 74-year-olds on the pitch. It is just awful. So we start off the game. I mean, a game like this as well, the fans were up for it, for sure. The fans were fantastic at the start, and still, we know that we've got to be the 12th man, right? We say it time and time again. When teams are in a relegation battle, you've got to get behind the lads, and we have done that fantastically. But there's a level of, the players need to do their part. They need to just put in as much effort as the fans are putting in, and we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that effort reciprocated, and we started off, Brighton, a team who have had a week off. Maybe that's benefited them, but they're Brighton, right? No disrespect, but it's Brighton. They've had a good season, okay? They're sitting in 9th, fair enough, but we just let teams walk all over us like they're, playing in the upper end of the Champions League. Like, come on. We're at home. We should actually, I'm not saying dictate, because under Hodgson, right, we've got a new game plan, and that is 4-4-2, 2 banks of 4, kind of stay in the game, frustrate the opposition, and then show them the quality of ourselves. But the fundamental problem is we cannot stay in the game, and the second problem is we cannot show a moment of quality. So both those ways of playing, those tactics, are from the get-go flawed. So Brighton start off very, very dominant, playing the ball around and basically playing with us, basically toying with us. We cannot seem to get the ball off them, but it's not complicated what Brighton are doing. They're just doing the simple things effectively, and we seem to make the simple things look like the most difficult task, and we give them back the ball. We just cannot seem to get anything going, and we don't look like a unit. We've said this time and time again, but we look like 11 players who rely on the other doing something. Not, let's go as a team and really, get through this period of adversity. It's more, let's pass it to you. Oh, you made a mistake. I'm going to, get out that and hope someone else saves me. It is just time and time again, we've said this, not enough oomph together as one unit. And Brighton just having so much of the ball, spraying it around. It was so predictable from Watford, and couldn't get out of a half of the first, say, 15, maybe 20 minutes. And then a little change, a gradual one. It feels like a little bit like the Burnley game, to be fair, in the respect that Burnley started off the better team. We started off looking like, oh dear, it's a team like Burnley who've won once all season, and we're kind of going into our shell again and letting them look the better team. And we didn't really show enough. And that stayed the same for a lot of the first half. But maybe you'd say the last 10 minutes, maybe, if that, Watford looking a little bit less awful, a little bit less, reserved. And we start to get on the ball a bit. But that's where it ends, right? There's no further encouragement. It's genuinely as plain as we get the ball, we start to knock it about, but it's really not anything to go by. So then the chance comes for Brighton. I think it's whipped in on the right hand side, and I'm not sure who gets the shot away, but it's a good effort, hit across goal, and that's the first real time that Foster's been called into action. And I think there was a Brighton player coming in as well, so he makes a save, and if he does, then he also just kind of puts it away out of danger. So that's already an alert for Watford. And then the chance that leads to the first goal, and we say it time and time again, but why don't Watford close the lines? Why don't Watford, even if we can't stop the threat, at least try to? And it feels like before the lead up to the Mopé goal, we were just watching the ball. We were chasing shadows and we couldn't get near them. But even if you can't get near them, just be closer. Try and not make it 50 feet. Try and make it 3 feet away, right? That's an exaggeration, but it's just as true as it can be. Ball got sprayed out to Tariq Lamptey, and we know what Lamptey's going to do. He's done it time and time again. But we don't stop it. And Kamara, to be fair to him, had a tough job trying to stop him, but you've got to get closer to him. You've got to stop, either commit or you don't, right? And we don't. So you really can't have that as an option. The two options should be commit to him, maybe give away a free kick, but at least you get in his face and you say to him, I'm not going to let him get past you. But what we do is, let's not even try, because there's no way we're catching up with Lamptey's pace. And Lamptey crosses it in, but it shouldn't get across the box as easy as that. And it comes to Neil Maupay. And honestly, from where we were sitting, it's one of those ones you think, as soon as he's hit that, it's on its route to goal. And that shouldn't go in. It's as simple as that. I know it's a good strike, right? And 9 times out of 10, Maupay will try that on the training ground and it won't go in. But it has, and he's definitely meant it. But that shouldn't get to him, first of all, and also we shouldn't let the cross come in. It's as simple as that. It's where's the marking? Where's the defence trying to basically hassle Maupay and stop him from shooting? And then as soon as he makes that connection, it's like a golf club swing. It's just hit and hope, but you shouldn't be given the chance to have a hit and hope. And it's a fantastic finish. It comes off, looping effort with the right foot and into that top left corner. No chance at all for Ben Foster. And about 42, 43, 44 minutes in, there's that goal. And we just said, let's just stay to half time, because it wasn't working, right? We weren't causing enough of an issue on Brighton. We weren't asserting ourselves enough. Really, really not enough scraps to kind of prey on. And yeah, a 1-0 down at half time. You're all right, okay, second half, let's regroup, just get into them at half time, really work out what we're going to do, because we started off, maybe it was starting off with a too defensive of a formation, the 4-4-2 and a setup, but we know exactly why Ray and Roy have come in. It's to steady up that defence, try and preserve something where there was complete barren, defensive mess before. But does that tell Brighton to just do what you like? Just dictate it. No chance of Watford even, laying a glove on the Seagulls if you're playing that style of football. Well, I honestly don't think that is the case. I think it's a matter of the players not having the ability, but mainly the effort to impose themselves on Brighton and make a bit more of a game of it. So second half come around, okay, fair enough. Some forward-thinking moves, like it from Hodgson and Ray. Bring on Ismail Assar, much needed. Now, the argument is, why is he not starting him? I think I expected it because of the fact he only travelled back from Cameroon from the Africa Cup of Nations the game was on the Sunday. You'd argue that's enough time. Obviously, he did miss the West Ham one, so we knew he was never going to come back for West Ham. But it's not as easy as he comes back, let's say on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Let's throw him straight in, because you need time, probably a week, to kind of get systems correct and try and test what you're going to do in that certain system with a certain player. But fair enough, if you're going to play him, then fair enough, it's at least have to be 45 minutes to give Sarr a chance to affect things. But the way that he kind of came on, Loser came on as well, which is a good substitution. Kayembe was not doing a lot, to be honest, and he came off. And also we saw Kutska come off, which was fair enough. I thought Kutska actually was pretty good against Burnley and against West Ham, but today didn't look up for it. So Cleverley obviously stays on, that's fair enough. But Cleverley, honestly, had an absolute stinker of a game, just not doing what he needs to. Poor passes, poor tackles. I mean, it was just all wrong. And even from a corner, you just can't beat the first man. And that's the basics. And that's when you're not getting the basics right, you're really struggling. So we think, okay, come on, Sarr, Loser, give us a new lease of life. Give us something to get our seats and get our, ourselves going. But it feels like what we needed today was a Tariq Lamptey, right? That cross for the Mopé goal, we didn't have any of that from Kamara, unfortunately, today, or from Kiko. And ultimately, there was no plan to get it to our attackers, right? So there was a point we brought on Pedro. We had 4 forwards. They're literally our best 4 forwards. And if you can't do anything with that at 1-0, then what can you do, right? Is there any hope at home against, Brighton, who they're a decent side this season, but they are still Brighton. So it's getting to the point now where I'm like, well, where is the ray of hope? Where is the way out of this? I don't know. I honestly do not know. We just start to show some kind of commitment, right? Not necessarily the quality, but we show some willingness to get back into it and willingness to get a bit more of the ball. So that was a small positive, right? We saw a bit of it at the end of the first half, but not enough. However, it was a bit more substantial to start the second half. So we gather some momentum. We start to ping the ball around nicely, but not enough chances. Ultimately, not enough chances. I mean, we had in the first half a bit of a half chance for King where we crossed it in and it was just a looping header and it was never ever causing any problems with Sanchez, but he just easily picked it. And then second half, again, not really any chances of note other than Emmanuel Dennis, who does brilliantly. Now, the frustration was, I think it was in the first half as well, the amount of times where Dennis would stray offside because he'd want to do it all himself and not make the pass earlier. We sometimes get into attacking moves and we have all the right ingredients to do what we need to do, but then there's one player that lets it down in the system and thinks, I'll just hold on for it for a bit longer. You can't do that. And we saw that, unfortunately, when João Pedro came on. We know Pedro has got the quality, but has he got the maturity? Has he got the nous when in the middle of the park, you're in the halfway line? What are you going to do? You're going to just get it up the pitch. Don't mess about. But he tries to just do little flicks and mess around with it. Just honestly, don't dawdle on it. Just honestly get it out and then go from there. So yeah, really, it felt like we were really living on scraps. But eventually, a ball comes for Dennis. He does really well. He gets past his man. Maybe he could have passed, but no, still keeps going. Shows the trickery, shows the skill. He does all the right things and then blasts it. And it's a crowded penalty box, right? He's not got a lot of time to think about it, but he's just got to bend it in that bottom far corner. But really, he kind of loses his head a little bit. He just blazes it, and it hits bang on the crossbar. And from there, really should be getting it inside the posts and inside the frame of the goal. So that was a chance, but that was it, really. There really wasn't a lot for Watford fans to get excited about, because we concede the second, and it is just a scramble. It is just a mess. And really, we should have cleared it away, but it was one of those things where, you didn't have any hope. You just knew that as soon as we were on the back foot there and not able to clear it, eventually it was going to come to Adam Webster, and he just scrambled it over the line. Really, really scrappy. And once that goal goes in, about 70 minutes, something like that, you think, that's the nail in the coffin. As soon as we concede a second at home, it seems the game's done. And that's because the players are so low on confidence, but also low on ability. And this is a point in our season where we have to think, if we're going to stay up, we have to beat the big teams. We have to beat the Man Cities, the Liverpools. There's no other solution to it, because this squad can never get up for a team, inverted commas, that Watford should think they can be competitive with. But no, it is a wasted opportunity. It's a Groundhog Day. It's a Wolves. It's a Leeds. It's a Newcastle. It's every single home game. Just no. And all I want from this Watford team is the same effort that we showed on day one, rolling back to the start against Aston Villa. I don't care we haven't got the quality, right? Because sometimes quality is made up by effort, and the amount of effort you put in, it won't necessarily lead to a goal, but it will lead to a chance, and then you build on that chance with another chance, and then that next chance could lead to a goal. It's a domino effect. But right now, there feels like there's no Watford players even willing to have a go at knocking down that first domino. And that is the problem. That is ultimately the issue. So Webster scores, and it feels like the whole team is just down in the dumps. And it's toxic. It's toxic off the pitch, because the players are creating an atmosphere that's not worth watching, to be honest. It is just a awful way of playing football. I'm not saying that's Hodgson. I'm not saying that's Ray. It is just, it feels like the footballers aren't doing the plan. The plan isn't clear, and that has to come down to the players, because we changed manager. We know Hodgson is straight to the point, and he showed that, but the players have got no point, and they are as blunt as a snap pencil right now. So, to conclude, some performance ratings. Ben Foster, pretty shoddy today. I don't remember any real chances that Brighton created in terms of Foster having to make a worldly save, and that's the worst thing about today. Brighton, they were bang average. We said this time and time again. We said it against Wolves. We said it against West Ham to an extent. Obviously, they deserved to win, but they weren't world class. We were just completely garbage. And we said it also against Norwich, right? Norwich, we know how poor they are, but we are just so bad. So again and again, we let teams come to Vicarage Road. They don't have to be world beaters, but they do have the basics, and we don't have the basics right now. We don't have a team that's fully functioning as a unit, that's looking like they want to get stuck into tackles and do the basics. And the problem is that we're making average teams look amazing, and that is giving teams confidence, especially with the way we started the game. We kind of make Brighton think, oh yeah, well, this will be an easy, a soft touch basically, and we can pick you apart. We can dominate the ball, recycle it back. So many times they just kept the ball and they just won it back off us. They didn't do a lot with it, but they just kept the ball and they built from the wide areas. And that was it. That was it from Watford. Really, really nothing performance. And the amount of times Foster was just, with his distribution, you know, giving away the ball. I mean, the amount of times where, like, you pass it out, okay? Brighton are a pressing team, we know that. But what we do is we play it out, and then Foster decides to come out of his penalty box, and if he's going to do that, then you've got to welly it, right? And he scuffs it. And it's like, it's a good thing Brighton weren't switched on, because that could have been a shot from outside the box when Foster's in, you know, no man's land. So, not a great game from the Cycling GK, it's got to be said. I don't think he could have done anything about the Mopé goal. Just a fantastic finish. And again, nothing about the Webster one, because it was just so close range. But not one of his finest for sure. Right back, Kiko Femenia. His crossing today, I thought, was really, really predictable. So many times we crossed the ball in. I mean, the overlap is there, right? It's there to be used. And the amount of times when we didn't use it with Kamara, Dennis, have an overlap. Make the pass. Don't just pass it straight back to Sissoko, who's outside the box, and then gives the ball away or shoots and blazes it over. Just go forward. Be forward-thinking. Be ambitious. Don't give it back to them. And really, Kiko, his crossing today was just not great. And as soon as Sarr came on, I thought, yes, this is the moment. Link up with Ismaila Sarr. But there was none of that from Kiko Femenia. Samir, I thought, was pretty bong average. You know, bong average. I'm making new words out, because it was that kind of uncharacteristic from Samir. We usually associate him to be solid. You know, not spectacular, but he does his job. Today, I just felt like he looked shaky. Cathcart, not too bad, to be honest. Not too bad, but just nothing special either. Kamara, I mean, it feels like all these players are just merging into one player that was kind of missing. And that just shows how it wasn't a performance that we can be really proud of. Kamara tried to do bits, but really there was nothing going for him. Then on the left-hand side, Dennis, I mean, he had that chance to hit the bar, but other than that, really, he's just running at this point. He's running, trying to do something. There's not really anything there. Midfield, Sissoko. I mean, Sissoko, you know exactly what he can do. He can drive forward. He's got that quality. But not enough times is he doing that. And often it feels like our midfield is too crowded. Kutzka today, I thought, was pretty sloppy. Just can't pass the football. You know, he can like get stuck in, but there's no footballing ability there. It's just a bit of endeavour if and when he has it, and sometimes he chooses not to have it, and sometimes he just misplaces the ball, and it's like, come on, Kutzka, do the simple things. And then Kayembe, again, a bit like the game against West Ham, didn't affect it enough. I mean, he's shown in the past Kayembe can have a good eye for a pass. He can slip it in behind, but there was none of that today, and he was very, very silent. Then the other midfield, Cleverly, awful game. One of his worst in the Watford shirt for me. Just, I don't know, everything went wrong. And I don't think that was just a lack of effort. It was just a lack of quality every single time from him today. And that's very, very uncharacteristic from Tom, because he usually puts his work in and usually gets it right. But no, it was all wrong today. And then on the right-hand side, Ismaila Sarr obviously didn't start, but we had a front two of King and Dennis. I mean, yeah, it really, really didn't look like a game that Sarr took by the scruff of the neck, but maybe that was just him not getting the pass enough from the opposition around, the teammates around him. When Loser came on, though, I think he was our one shining light. I think he's the one Watford player who can hold his head high, and we've said that a lot, to be honest, this season with Imran Loser. He gives us that little something different. He can see the game before it happens. He's very, very clever. He can whip a ball across, you know, cross diagonal, a through ball. He knows how to do it. And I wish there was 11 losers in our team, because then we might actually have some kind of effort. But in terms of him in front of him, Joshua King, he is trying so hard, and you feel for the lad at this point, right? Because his career was washed with Everton, and he's just trying something at Watford, but there's no one on the same wavelength. And when a striker is playing in a front two that's pretty defensively minded, there isn't, unless there's some amazing delivery from a fullback, which there often isn't, There's nothing for King to prey on. There's nothing for King to get into his path, get in behind. There's nothing of that. We don't play that way. And it's like, unless King does something on his own, you're just not going to get anything from him out. You're not going to get a tune out of him. And I mean, I don't blame King for today. I don't think he was the reason we lost, but he again was awful. It's as simple as that. Dennis, again, I don't know. I feel like the AFCON thing didn't help. Maybe that's just kind of taking his eye off the ball a little bit. I just don't know. I just feel like he's not the same Dennis that he was, you know, at the midway point of this kind of season so far. But Sarr and Dennis and Pedro came on, and Pedro, you know, Pedro is always the one where we say, oh well, you know, at least Pedro came on, he was decent. I thought he was very quiet, but so was the whole Watford squad. So to sum up, it feels like we've come back, we've done it again, and we've been wasteful. We've not had enough chances. We've been dominated by Brighton in a game where Brighton were really not that something to go home and shout at home about. So yeah, we really need to reevaluate our season. Just think, where do we go from here? And in a must-win game, we've lost 2-0. We've looked really shoddy, and I think whatever we get now, whatever we get is whatever's coming to us, we deserve it, because that needs to change. We go again against Villa, but I don't honestly see where our next any points are coming from. So thanks for watching. Get down in the comment section. Is Watford in a season of damage limitation from this point on, or is it still, with the amount of games left, somehow possible for us to stay out by the skin of our teeth? I'll see you next time. Bye bye.